Fromm with the Canada First Immigration Reform Committee. Well, Canada's getting 25,000 Syrians. Aren't we lucky? If you only knew what you read in the mass media, the feel-good stories on the TV, the coverage in your local newspaper and big city newspaper of people gathering together, forming committees to welcome the Syrians, trying to find suitable healthcare workers, translators who can translate from Arabic, gathering blankets and toys and all that. You would think the entire nation had been mobilized for a worthy cause. This is heavy-duty propaganda and false. A recent Ipsos Reid poll found that 60% of Canadians oppose bringing the 25,000 Syrians, which the newly elected Trudeau government promised to bring by the end of the year. The majority of Canadians are opposed to it, and yet the political class and the media is 110% in favor of it. Well, let's look at the issues. The majority of Canadians reveal a pretty sturdy common sense. First of all, there's a civil war going on in Syria, and there has been for the last 3 or 4 years. Regrettably, that civil war was to some extent encouraged by Canada. Canada, the United States, Britain and other countries meddled in Syria's affairs and ended up backing groups that are dedicated to the overthrow of the present government of Syria. We shouldn't be there at all. But anyway, there are about 4 million people who've been displaced by the civil war. They've gone to places like Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, and Turkey. That's sad. I think we can feel sorry for them. But the answer isn't to bring them to Canada. And you know, it's not either or. It isn't bring them to Canada or let them starve. That's not the issue. The issue is there a more effective way to help them? And the more effective way to help them is to send additional financial assistance to the refugee camps for food, for tents, for medicine, to help with the education of the youngsters and so on. Bringing them to Canada is not a solution. And look at the risks. Syria is one of the most violent areas of the world. There are considerable numbers of people who are members of this radical terrorist group called ISIS. How do you sort them out? Well, our current Prime Minister, who seems to specialize in lofty sounding pronouncements and feel good, don't worry, be happy, put on a big smile. His solution is just bring them to Canada. Don't worry about the security. The Americans, and I'm not sure they're all that good at it, it takes them 1 year to 2 years to vet a person. Now, Trudeau was elected on the 19th of October, and he said that he would try to bring 25,000 Syrians by the end of the year. That was our goal. That was like a sacred commitment. A sacred commitment to bring people who may not be able to fit into this country, and worse, who may, at least some of whom, may be terrorists and may be the type of people who will bring exactly the sort of violence they have in Syria to our shores. And it's happened. You know, in the fall of 2014, 2 Canadian soldiers were murdered in 2 separate incidents by radical Muslims right here in Canada. It's not that it can't happen here, it has happened here. And we have almost monthly warnings. There was the attack in Paris on Charlie Hebdo, the satirical French magazine. Then there was the shooting in Chattanooga, Tennessee by a radical Muslim of several U.S. military personnel. And then there was the 130-some Frenchmen who were murdered in several incidents a few weeks ago. And then there was the attack in San Bernardino by radical Muslims who shot up and killed 14 of the man's fellow employees. So this threat is real. The Americans take 1 year to 2 to vet a person, and I'm not sure they do it all that well. Canada expects to be able to vet some of these people in a couple of weeks. This is nonsense. We are being left utterly unprotected. Now, do we have room for people like this? Well, the fact is, no. I'm not quibbling about the numbers. I'm not saying, as Mr. Harper did, well, maybe it should be 10,000. It should be none. Help them? Yes. Help them financially in the camps over there. Bring them to Canada? We run a huge risk and a huge cost. The Trudeau government estimates it's going to cost about $670,000, give or take, over 5 years. That is $750 million. You know, in Germany, it's estimated that it will cost about $13,000 a year to support a refugee on welfare in Germany. Whereas the same can be accomplished in camps in Lebanon or in Jordan for about $3,300 a year. You get a far bigger bang for your buck without endangering Canadians. And then there is the cost. 25,000 people, and that's the goal. They're supposed to be here by the end of February 2016. They have to be housed, they have to be fed, they have to be clothed, there have to be special mental health services available. Some of these people are damaged. Now you can feel sorry for people like that, but is it a good idea to bring badly messed up people to this country? I don't think it's a good idea. I think it endangers Canadians and it's a huge cost. You know, Justin Trudeau got elected, and yes, he got elected with a majority, but it's not his country. It's our country. And we don't want it endangered, and we don't want it given away. And you know, I blame a lot of this on the mass media. This is the front page of the Globe and Mail of December the 29th. And there's a picture of this lady, and her name is Tima Curry, and she's the aunt of that little boy that you probably remember was washed up on the shores of Turkey in September of this year, and that became quite a big issue. How many people are we going to take? That was the issue. Now here's a picture of her welcoming not the Curdy, not the same side of the family as the child Alan Curdy who died, but another brother. And this same picture, or something very close to it, appeared on the front page of the left-leaning Toronto Star, the supposedly right-leaning Toronto Sun, the neoconservative National Post, and of course this is the Globe and Mail. It is a propaganda effort to soften our minds to accept, really, the unacceptable. And you know, that whole Alan Curdy story was a scam. Did you notice the body? Not very neatly placed. He was at a 90-degree angle to the shore. Have you ever seen anything washed in by the tide that is placed like that? Well, no. You would expect it would be parallel to the shore. No, that body was placed there. And you know, the initial story was this poor kid and his little brother had drowned trying to get to Greece from Turkey. They were refugees from Syria. Supposedly, the entire story is bogus. That was the initial story. So boo-hoo-hoo, the poor kid drowned. Well, nobody can help but feel regret for the drowning of anybody, and especially a child. But the real story as it emerged was this. Who was to blame? Well, somehow, his father said the world was to blame. Well, no, actually the world wasn't to blame. He, the father, was to blame. It turned out the father was a people smuggler. He was smuggling a boatload of illegals from Turkey to a foreign sovereign country, Greece, the island of Lesbos, about 3 miles across the stormy Aegean Sea. He was smuggling these people, including his own family, for money. He charged an Iraqi family $10,000 American dollars. This guy was a crook. Well, it's too bad that he also wasn't a very good captain. He flipped his own boat. Yeah, his 2 kids died. It's too bad. It's unfortunate. But it's not our fault, it's his fault to trying to invade another country. Too bad he wasn't a very good captain and didn't know how to handle a boat. It's sad, but it's his fault. It's not our fault. And you know where he was trying to go? He was trying to go to Germany. And you know what I found significant? After the children died, what did he do? Well, he went back to Syria, to his hometown, to bury them. Wait a sec. I thought he was a refugee. I thought, presumably he was fleeing for his life. Much of the refugee thing is a scam. Some years ago, the RCMP said 90% of refugees lie. So we don't have the time, and I would suggest we don't have the money, nor is it our responsibility to try to sort the good guys from the bad guys. One terrorist is one too many. So what we need to do is to stop this intake right now, assist the refugees if you want, in refugee camps back there. Justin Trudeau, this is not your country, this is our country. And this is Paul Fromm of Canada First Immigration Reform Committee. You can check us out on the web at canadafirst.com. Thank you.